Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. Oh boy, here we go. Netease announced the most iconic thing. Balancing Changes 3. I'm so disappointed. There are words to be used in this video that I don't use in my videos. There are statements to be made in these videos that I don't make on a regular basis. I believe Sovereign might cover this in a better term than me, but Netease are the equivalent of the exact opposite of intelligence. That is all that I'm going to say about Netease. That's just about it. You know, you introduce a balance change and you lose 50% of your audience the first time. You know what's the lesson behind it? Don't mess with that organization skill. You know what? Let's test it out the second time. Maybe we'll get it right. Hey, you know what? We lost another 50% of the remaining population. Hey, that sounds smart. Let's do it again. Yeah, that's Netease. They've literally pushed away so much of their audience by messing around with the weapons the first time in balance, right? That it makes no sense for them to touch it ever again. That should literally be called taboo for them. They should mark it as do not touch, right? Do not rebalance. That should be forbidden from them to do ever again in the game. But they will keep interfering with balances. Why? Because they want to make more money and they need to make the game more difficult. But is this the right way for them to be heading through this game? No way. There isn't a chance that they're on the right track at this point. They've messed up every opportunity they've had so far to capitalize on the game market. So let's just talk about it from a little bit more of a point of view. So the first time they launched a balance change or balancing changes, they lost 50% of the market from the game because they interfered with missiles. Now, the missiles they interfered with were rapids. I am the person who benefited from the changes, but I even criticized them on that change. I am a long-range missile user. I am a long-range fighter. They interfered with mid-range fighting. And this is all I've got to say. If you made a stupid decision before you started the game, you keep it. You do not go and interfere with things that are set, that have taken people time to do. If you're going to interfere with something like that there, you have to give them a phenomenal reward. Last week, with their bad wording and their bad choices and their changing around of things, they cost people billions in ISK, right? People went out, they purchased materials, they produced chips that weren't being used, and all of a sudden, they change up their wording. You know what you do in that situation? You don't give them 20,000 SP points. You go, you jump onto your game, you go and get yourself a Plex boost to everybody and give them free Plex. But no, Netease is way smarter. They'd rather piss off their limited audience left within the game over securing any audience. That is Netease's logic. You'd rather piss off the audience and give them something which doesn't make a difference to them in hopes that it will appease them in some way. This is all you've appeased them with doing. Let me just explain it to you in a quick set of words for what Netease has done. They have taken gasoline, they have taken a whole lot of C4 explosives, thrown it on the floor, lit sparkers in them that can actually detonate them, soaked everything in gasoline, and instead of just taking a little match and throwing it on to light it up, they've taken a flamethrower, stood right on top of each of the explosives and lit it up in that way. Because that's how foolish the decisions from Netease have been today. They're trying to destroy this game. I think it is a test from them to see if they can destroy a franchise. Because that's the only reasonable explanation to what they're doing. They aren't using logic, they aren't using common sense. Because common sense will tell you, you never repeat the same mistake twice. And if you do repeat the same mistake twice and you get the same result, do not push it a third time. If the result was bad, do not do it again. What if they had the best results from? The first few days of the Halloween event. Yes, it had a massive fallout with the audience because it wasn't balanced. There was no counter to them. That is another mistake made by Netease. They introduced the balance in another tier up. It was too late. You introduced it too late, you lost audience. You need to think ahead of your decisions. You want to push the word balance? Give people a chance to earn more ISK. Give people better ships. Give people events. No, they want to push balance. Balance. Why? Because it makes their lives easier. No, it doesn't make their lives easier. It means they earn more from those who actually pay for the game. But what does that do to the rest of the game? It makes more people angry. More people leave. So let me give you a hint of what we have in the game. We have around an audience of 20,000 at maximum. Okay, no, about 60,000 at maximum, right? Minimum scale, we might only be under 10,000. I'm not even sure if we are above 10,000 at the time online, but that could be a possibility. We had the T9 rush where people jumped onto the game, purchased their ships, and they played for a week and disappeared. That happened, that came into the game, it's out. But this is where the problem lies with Netease. They don't see their faults. They repeat the same mistake over and over again. Where did you have your best results? Giving away free things, right? That is your best result. That hooks the audience, right? So Halloween event was fantastic. Let's repeat it again next year at Halloween. Yeah, bravo, bravo. We got a next event. Yeah, we'll just give skins. Do we have anything in the game that needs to be released that isn't going to change the balance of the game? Hey, yeah, we have these tons of weapon systems that nobody can earn in the game. Nah, we're not going to give it away. It's too outside of us to make people's lives easier. It's too outside of us to give the players some plex. We're going to give them a mission to go and get a skin that they can only use for a few minutes. And it's going to cost them 500,000 plex. 500 plex, and it's going to cost them on top of the 500 plex a solid 2 hours to complete that mission. Yeah, it sounds fair. We're giving them a cosmetic. It has no gain to them in terms of ISK. Yeah, that sounds perfectly well to us. They're going to have to spend money on plex, so we're going to make money. They're going to have to do the activity. They're not going to make enough ISK of it, so they're going to be upset about that. So they're going to have to spend more money on plex to get plex for the end of the month. Hey, there's it. We've got our winning solution. We can make triple the money and we can lose half the population at the same time. So we will earn less at the end of the next month. Hey, it sounds like a brilliant idea. That is Netease again. I'm just being real cynical about it. I'm really upset with them, as you can guess. But that is the mistakes. I go and I push to them an objective which will give them balance across a 9 week, okay, not 9 weeks, across the whole year. It gives them content which flows all the time. It pulls players in and out of the game week by week. It pulls players in for certain events. It pulls players off. It puts players into the game, out of the game. It brings groups together. What does Netease say? No, we'll think about it after April because we don't have anything planned for April. We're in the middle of March. The game is dead. What do they decide for March instead of giving us an event? Hey, here's something for you guys. We want you to leave the game. Balance change. Yay. I want out of this. That's what everybody is doing. Literally, content creators are giving away everything they have to leave the game. The content creators within this game were quite a nice audience. We were over 60. Right now, on the content creators, I think you'd be lucky to find 10 content creators with daily uploads of this game. That is how rare this game is going to become. And it's not being pushed by some type of financial objective or some kind of small, minute changes that don't hurt anybody. The game developers haven't paid enough attention to what people have said. They're only paying attention to what they believe is important. And you know what? They do have an overall point of view. As I said, Some things are so easy. I know exactly how hard it is to program. That's how come I gave them an easy set of events to plan. They already have the form code for it. You want to throw an event, you can throw up a billboard. How hard is it to add a billboard? We already know they already made billboards with just announcements. All they've got to do is throw up a billboard with the link to the Discord. And in the Discord, they just throw up a link of events and dates. How hard is that? It literally is nothing. It won't even take them 2 minutes. But what did they do? They opted to kill the game over putting something to blow up the game and have everybody have fun. Why? Because NetEase doesn't think. NetEase doesn't push forward, they push backwards. They want to make their objective work without thinking about us, the players. And let me give you a big brouhaha on this. If you think the finances of this game are happy with its progress, let me tell you what they were saying, or what they would be saying. You had a game with a 2 million audience. Why aren't we seeing profits from it? Right? That's the first thing they're going to be saying. And then the developers obviously will say, no, we had a fallout with some of the audience. We lost a lot of the audience, so we can't capitalize as much as we did. It's standard procedure in these games. We'll make more money through microtransactions within the game. Okay, so how are you going to promote the microtransactions? Oh, we're going to do a few changes in the game and we're going to sort it out. Now, when they say we're going to do a few changes, they don't explain what they're doing to the investors. Obviously, the investors are represented by a board, and most boards won't go into in-depth details about what you're doing with these small changes. They just want more bottom end for their clients. They want to take out more profits on the game so that investors are more happy with it, so they can secure a greater investment for the next launch or the next major thing coming out. And the next thing that they're going to do is obviously give us something new. So nonetheless, they've reached this point where they've made these big mistakes. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm just like trying to keep myself calm without fuming, and the devs aren't looking after everything within this game, right? I'm upset about what they have done to the point where I don't know what to say to comfort players. I don't know what to do to help anymore, because NetEase doesn't listen to logic, right? They won't listen to me. They won't listen to anybody besides those with those massive followings who aren't going to be interested in what we're interested in as players of the game, right? So you can go and ask Sovereign, or you can go and ask Benji, one of them, to try and help out with this, but they're not going to get you anywhere further than I can. I've put in a lot of time to trying to help this game. I won't lie, I've done that, and you won't find me fully abandoning the game because I'm still gonna play, right? And it's the only content I have at the moment. I'm trying very hard to get other content going. You can hear my sighs. Obviously, there's there's a lot of bad words I want to use. There's a lot of harsh statements I want to make. And you can't blame a person for being this upset with Netease. If you knew what I did, I went and I listed out a 3-week by 3-week program. 3 weeks of enchanting the game audience to take part in group activities. And I made sure that we could keep the YouTube audience going, because if YouTubers are around, they're creating a buzz about the game. And if there's a YouTube buzz about the game, then you have other buzzes within the game. That was what I proposed to them. And then I proposed that in order to make these events more tangible for people, instead of adding new items to the game that aren't yet in the game, add items that are in the game but non-accessible. The Benaman shield boosters, the Benaman items, the items that are locked behind walls that we can't go to as yet. I told them to hand that out. Basically throw them in boxes with a random distribution every time a mission is completed in a fleet. So when you're in a fleet of 50, you stand a higher percentage chance. When you're in a fleet of 2, you stand a very low percentage chance to get one of these boxes. That forces people to gather together in numbers. It forces the game to start contracting in terms of nature. It pulls people out of the far reaches where there's nothing to do. And let me explain it to you. When you do things like that, it helps so much. And I explained it to them as they'll be able to capitalize more of the audience over a 3-week event, 21 days. And then you complete with the next 21 days in PvP and the next 21 days for basic industry. That gives you a total of 63 days. That's 2 months down with content with just one event. Then you follow it up with the higher level event and you conjure up another 2 months. It gives them free time to build up everything for a DLC. Instead of giving us these small micro patches with instances that are going to make players upset, introduce a full DLC. Put in your balance changes as quality of life instead of balance changes. Quality of life update. New this, new that, new that, new that. You understand there's so much new coming to the game, you won't look at those changes as the big bad that they are. And what do they instead decide to do? No, we'll go with the harsher option. We'll give people the worst news first. Then we'll wait a month until all of them are gone from the game. And we have a tiny audience who nobody is really interested in playing the game. They're just casuals on our game. And we will get them to follow our orders and do what we want. That is what Netease did. They hurt the game so badly. There's no way we're recovering from where we are. It's over. It's game down. There is no future progression. We don't have a path out of this. Seriously, if Netease contacted the content creators, told them to get together in groups, host collaborative events, and there will be rewards issued to people who take part in them, I guarantee you we'd be having fun at this point in the game instead of hearing, hey, there's it, one of the new content creators, Pristine Frog, is now out of the game. Hey, here's another fantastic content creator. His name is Sovereign RPG. He isn't enjoying the game, so he's playing other games. That's a good show of how good your game is. Here's another content creator, his name is Elementary72, myself. He's taking on another game as his main. And this game isn't even better than your game. It's just another game from a better studio. And he believes that it has more potential. What does that tell you about your game? You've done something wrong. Fix it up quickly. Throw in a small event. Give away equipment. Give away those ships that you are hiding behind walls. No, we won't do that there because we're saving them for later. What in the world is coming later? There's going to be the death of your game, which is it isn't going to be that long till it comes. Let me guess. The game is going to be dead in, let's see, by my estimation, 2 more months. That is all they have. 2 months to secure maybe 5,000 players, when they could have secured 20,000 players and possibly grown the audience to 30,000 right now in the next 21 days. And then with the second 21 days, they could have grown the audience by another 5 to 6,000 and gotten it up to 35,000 or 45,000, 50,000. And then by the time the next set of events comes in, players have this hype about them, and you get this massive flood of 20 to 30,000 players in the second round of events, because it's these big giveaways that people know they're playing for. And you have the first week where it's just these small items, second week where it's another set of items, third week where it's an even more elite set of items, and you just have this full flow of players, hundreds upon hundreds of players influxing into the game, players jumping on in times when those events aren't happening, farming up every mission they can, every encounter they can to get missions unlocked, because they know they're going to sell on the market like crazy because people need them. No, what did they do? They opted for balance change. Balance change. What does balance change encounter for the players? Hey, you know what? This thing that we're doing in the game is about to change. Why bother? Let's just go and play this other game for a few days. That's all they've done. And I know I've repeated myself like 3 or 4 times. It's just the frustration that I have makes me want to swear, use vulgarity on this video, and I'm refraining from doing that because, oh my god, I want to have a rant at Joseph and all the other devs that they need to really work on their skills and think carefully about what comes out of their mouths when they put on these patches, and maybe they should get somebody else to see what they're doing before they do something like this, and never to announce it anywhere before they make a mistake like this. Like, go back and look at what happened the last time they did it before they try it again. So that's going to be it for today. I'm really disheartened. I don't even want to come back tomorrow to this game. And you know what? I'm not getting that much of support. If the changes that they implement are worse than I expect, I'm just going to stop the videos. I'll play the game on the side. You'll get 1 or 2 rare videos, just like what you get from Wild Rift. Like I said, their matchmaking was absolutely horrendous, and there isn't much to cover in it without the ranked seasons. So I gave up that game on a permanent basis. This might join the same rank on that terms, and I'll play a whole lot of casual games on my channel until I get another game. So see you all next time. If it is tomorrow, maybe it's not going to be tomorrow, but I'm done with this foolishness. Netease needs to wake up and get a better system.